Hello, my name is Professor Benjamin, and this is Motion Graphics. Today we're going to get started with just the fundamentals. So the first thing you're going to want to do is open up After Effects. And then the second thing you'll want to do is to create a new composition. You can simply click on this area here, or go up to Composition and New Composition. Alright, and you want to give it a good name. We're just going to call this, Intro to Motion Graphics. Alright, and HDTV 1080 at 29.97 is a really good place to start. There's lots of presets here, but this one's really large and it's at 29.97 frames per second, so that's pretty standard. And so you want to go large. It's easy to make things smaller, but it's hard to make things larger. So 1920 by 1080 is a really good place to stay. And let's start by making this just a really short duration, just 10 seconds. Alright. And then just hit OK. Alright, and here's your stage. Over here are your panels, and you can just click on them to open them up. And if you want to open them up like I just did so you can see the whole thing, you click on the tilde button. That's that little curly Q under the escape key. And if you hit that, it expands whatever frame you're in, whatever panel, to full screen, which is really great, especially for your timeline sometimes. Just a little note with the tilde. Okay, so here's your stage, here's your panels, here's your timeline, and here's your timeline effects area. And then you have effects controls and your project. And so let's start with the project. So we just created this composition, and there it is, it's in the project panel. And that's where you're going to keep all of your artifacts, your images, your sound, your videos. All of it's going to be kept and organized in there. Okay, so let's just do some basic animation. Let's just get started. All right, so how we're going to do that, we're going to start with some text. So you can come up here to the text tool and click on that. And just click in the stage anywhere. All right, and I'm just going to say hello. And I'm going to change that typeface. To do that, you can highlight it with your text tool. And then notice the character palette automatically opened. So I'm going to come over here where it says Baskerville. I'm going to go ahead and change that to Avenir, one of my favorites. There we go. And I'm going to get it, Avenir Medium. That looks delightful. Okay, so there you have a typeface. This is where you change all of your character attributes. You can change the size here. You can change, but you have to have it highlighted. And this is called scrubbing. You can type in a precise size and hit return, 200 pixels, or you can simply scrub left or right. Okay, and now we want to move hello around. So we have to switch between our text tool and the move tool, which is right here, or selection tool. And now with the selection tool, you can go ahead and click on it and move it around the stage. Okay, now let's animate it. So if we look down here, this is our timeline. This is a timeline bar, and that bar is associated with this text or with this object. And there it says hello right there. Now if we open up this little caret here, we can see what's underneath this layer. And we're going to focus right now on just the transform options. Okay, so let's go ahead and move hello from the left side of the screen to the right. So I'm going to start over here on the left. And that's position. So you can see I've moved it and it already got me to position. If you see you move it around, the X and Y coordinates for position move as well. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is set a keyframe where we want this animation to start. And then we're going to set another keyframe where we want it to end. And then After Effects will fill in the middle with what's called a tween. All right, so how do we do that? Again, get it in the starting position. And here is your CTI. You can also call it a playhead. It's your current time indicator, and you can move that up or down. But we're going to start right here at 0 at the beginning. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click this little stopwatch on position, because that's what I want to do. All right, and then a little keyframe is put there. There's a little keyframe. And then I go ahead and move this up. Let's say I'll move it up to 2 seconds, and I'm going to add another keyframe. Now you can see the stopwatch is lit up blue. So now any change we make is going to make a keyframe. But it's a little more precise if you just go ahead and click on the Add or Remove Keyframe button. And you can click it to add or click it to remove. All right, so you have two keyframes. but nothing's changed in between the two keyframes. So we have to make a change to see something move. But before we do that, just notice these little arrows right here, go to previous keyframe. This is going to be really important, these two arrows, so we can be precise. So we're not just clicking and dragging our CTI around. All right, so I want to go to this one, so I clicked on the next keyframe button. Okay, and then I'm going to change the position. Now I can do this two ways. I'll show you. You can just click and drag it, and then there's the little path that it's going to follow. But if you click and drag, it's not so precise. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and hit Command Z. I think it's Control Z on a PC. You can also go to Edit and Undo to get my hello back to where it was. And I'm going to show you how I prefer if I'm going to change the position. I'm going to go ahead and scrub it. All right, so I've got X and Y. So X will scrub this way and Y will scrub this way. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and scrub the X. And so we move hello all the way over to this side like so. All right, and now just go ahead and move your CTI back, and you can see that it's moving. And you can hit the space bar, and it'll play. And there it goes. All right, so you've learned how to change the position or animate the position. All right, let's do one more. Let's animate the scale. And so let's say we want the scale to animate at the same time as the position. So to do that, we want to make sure our CTI is exactly at the same place as this keyframe is. So with position selected, I'll hit previous keyframe. And then I can go to scale and activate or click on the time stopwatch. And then I'm going to go, see there's no keyframes here, but I can go to the next keyframe on position. And then if I hit the keyframe add button down here, you can see now my keyframes are precisely aligned. They have the exact same time. And you can see the time right there. So these second two keyframes are right at 1 minute and 29 frames. Okay, cool. So we want to go ahead and make hello get larger. Right, so again, so in order to do that, the first keyframe is the regular size, scale 100%. I'm going to go to the next keyframe and scale, and then I'm just going to go ahead and scrub that larger. All right, and you can type in a precise amount as well. Okay, let's go back and see how that worked. All right, so we've got scale and position. Now what we might want to do, because of that hello now moves off the screen, we might go back to position, get right on that keyframe, and maybe we slide it back a little bit. All right, so like that, and now if we play it, it's like this, almost like it's getting closer. All right, great. So next, let's do the next one down. Let's do rotation. So the same thing, we'll start at the beginning, click the stopwatch on rotation, move to the next keyframe, add a keyframe on rotation, and then we're going to go ahead and just rotate. Again, you can scrub, or you can type in a precise amount, let's say like 90. All right, let's see how that looks. Okay, and then the same thing, we might want to change the position. So I'll go to that last keyframe in position, and I'll change the Y value, X value. And then maybe I'll change the scale as well. Oops, no. There we go. So now we can see the whole thing. So I made it too small. All right, so we got really small, and it goes, whoa. All right, there you go. So we've animated position, scale, and rotation. All right, let's do one last one. We'll do opacity. Same thing. Get your CTI at the beginning, click opacity or the stopwatch for opacity, go to the next keyframe, and then add a keyframe under opacity. And then in this case, we're going to go back to the first keyframe on opacity, and we're going to scrub that down to 0, so you can't see it at all. All right, so now when we hit play or hit the space bar, there it goes from 0 opacity to 100%. All right, and so just to complete this lesson, let's go ahead and export it because you can't really do anything with just an After Effects stage. You need to turn it into a file. So let's go ahead and say File and Export to Render Queue. All right, you need to kind of change the location. You can click out right here. It says Output To. And notice you have two tabs here. This initial tab is your timeline, and then the Render Queue tab. So come down here to Output To, and it's just going to give you a file format option as QuickTime, a .mov. And then just go ahead and hit Save. So now you have the name and where it's going to go, and then you just simply hit Render. Excellent. And then just go ahead. Oh, don't forget to save. Just File Save. And then just go ahead and look for your movie where you exported it to, and open it up and give it a play. And then you can go ahead and play your movie. There you have it. All right, very good. Well, thanks for joining, and good luck with your assignment.